I tell writers all the time to go hear authors speak. Even if they don't write memoir, you can still learn so much about writing from them. Ask questions about the subject, but also find out how they go about finding their story ideas, what is their writing process, and such. Every time I hear an author speak, I come away with something to help me with my own work. Hi, my name is Patricia Chapointier, and welcome to episode 71 of the Life Writers Vlog, where you can find inspiration and useful tips to help you write your life stories. At the end of last month, three friends and I went to hear Susan Eischeid talk about her book, Mistress of Life and Death, The Dark Journey of Maria Mandl, head overseer of the women's camp at Auschwitz-Birkenau. This is the book here. I read it on Kindle, so I don't have the actual hard copy of the book. This is a biography of Maria Mandl. She was a young woman from a rural village in Austria who was, as the author described it, a nice girl from a good family. But by the time she was in her mid-30s, she had obtained the highest rank for a woman in the Third Reich. The author, Susan Eischeid, plays an oboe and had done so professionally. So what initially drew her to this story was the women's orchestra at Auschwitz that Maria Mandl founded and supported. Those women were saved from death because of being in that orchestra. They got a little bit extra food, they got a little bit better treatment. So that orchestra saved them. What Ashay was really interested in was learning more about that, which turned into a biography of Maria Mandl. Three women in the orchestra were still alive at the time of publication. Eischeid interviewed them and wanted them to see their stories in print. That was a motivating force for her in getting this book to press. As the author got deeper into this project, the question she sought to answer was how someone like Maria Mandl turns into the monster she ended up being. She was someone who beat and killed prisoners and who really took pleasure in the suffering of others. Eischeid spent 22 years researching, interviewing, writing Mistress of Death. It was a mammoth undertaking that required interviewing and transcribing documents in 9 different languages, and most all of her research was done before this information was digitized. She traveled to all these places, paid for her own travel, paid for translators and interpreters. I asked her how she organized 20 years of material so she could write about it. She laughed and said, "That's a really good question." She had a room in her house dedicated to this project. She started with a timeline of Maria Mandl's life, which is a great place to start when you're writing your own life story. Start with a timeline. She had this long, involved timeline of Maria Mandl's life, and she tacked it up to the walls around the room. For each piece of information, each document, each letter, each interview, she numbered and lettered each one of them. Then she put the numbers or the letters where they belonged on Maria Mandl's timeline. Then she started to write. She knew where everything belonged, and when she would write one portion of the text, she knew to grab these numbered documents. I thought that was a brilliant way to do it, and it is amazing how much information she had in order to write this book. I thought I had gotten to the end of the book, and there were so many pages left, and I was like, wow, what are all these pages? It's all her end notes. I mean, she thoroughly researched this. The way she organized writing it was brilliant and something we can all learn from her. She also went on to say she spent 2 years looking for an agent. She received 48 rejections before she found an agent who championed her book. That should be encouraging to all of us or who are also looking to be traditionally published. You have to have an agent and you have to have a lot of resilience because it's probably not going to come quickly. This book was just the beginning of Eischeid's work in this area. She has ideas for 4 more books, these focusing on the heroes in the Holocaust. Mistress of Life and Death was a difficult one to read because of the content, not the writing. Eischeid did a great job writing it. The text was so compelling, it kept me coming back to the page even when the brutality of Maria Mandl felt like it was almost too much to bear. I would not allow myself to turn away from even the worst of what Mandl did. I felt like I needed to bear witness, to pay respect, and to honor all those Mandl dehumanized and brutalized. I highly recommend this book. It is, as the back cover blurb says, a chilling and complex exploration of how easily an ordinary citizen chose the path of evil in a climate of hate and fear. That climate of hate and fear existed back in the World War II era, but I also think it exists today as well. I believe it's my duty, and I encourage you as well to bring love and trust and kindness into the world as much as we possibly can to offset any hate or fear in existence today. I hope you get a copy of Eischeid's book. It's a sobering book, but I think it's a very important book for everyone to read. If you liked what you just watched, sign up to be notified of future vlog posts and upcoming events. Use the buttons below to share this episode on social media or with a friend who might enjoy it. Until next time, everybody, happy writing.
If you enjoyed this week's episode, you will love our Life Writers membership. Whether you don't know where to start writing your life stories, have started and stopped many times, or have been writing but want to receive feedback to make your stories better, the Life Writers membership is where you need to be. We have a Get Started roadmap, an extensive library of instructional videos, live events via Zoom, and a supportive and active community. If you want to take the stories that live in your heart and mind and put them onto the page, check out Life Writers at lifewriters.us.